Matlock Bath is built on a hillside, so the view is just stunning. It really is. And Warrington is built round a lake, so it's lovely. I mean, they have different rides and attractions. We have a lot the same as well, but there are variations between them.
So you really need to do the full trip, the full set.
Definitely, yeah, you want to visit them all.
Is there any way we can find out more about Gulliver's Land?
Yes. We have an excellent website with all the information that you'll need to know about upcoming events, parties, what's on the parks, where to eat, and that's at www.gulliversfun.co.uk.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
This is Seclo Sounds, and you can listen to us by clicking Listen Live on our homepage at seclosounds.org for a choice of players. Via TuneIn Radio at www.tunein.com, search for Seclo Sounds and listen online or download the TuneIn app. You can download the Seclo Sounds iPhone app from the iTunes App Store, and you can listen to us on demand at our replay page.
If you're going abroad by plane, boat, or the family car. If you're going abroad for pleasure or business. There's one essential thing to do before you go. Check the expiry date on your European Health Insurance card. You can renew it up to 6 months before it expires. Visit nhs.uk/healthcare abroad or call 0845 606 2030. Bon voyage!
When I was networking for my business, I used to speak to people and they're really unhappy about where they worked and how their job was going and stuff. But it was really good to meet Emma, who's really enthusiastic about where she works. And she's been there her whole working life and she's still there and she still enjoys it. So it was good fun to meet her and feel the enthusiasm she has for Gulliver's Land. I'm trying not to sound like an advert, but she really was really happy about where she worked. Which brings me on to a little bit. Emma asked me to just mention that they are hiring there for the summer season. If you are interested in working in an amusement park, you can be at Milton Keynes, Warrington or Matlock Bath. Just go to gulliversfun.co.uk and there'll be a link there about how you can apply for a job. And who knows, you could be spending the rest of your working life at Gulliver's Land in Milton Keynes. If you've been and you want to share your photos, facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Let us know what fun you had while you were there. You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org.
This is Seclo Sounds. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for 1 hour in the company of Harry and Edna on the wireless, exploring all aspects of the vintage scene and playing tip-top gramophone tunes. Harry and Edna on the wireless, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on seclosounds.org. Jolly good.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. The internet has thousands of pages with funny travel stories on it, mainly travel agents sharing what their customers have been up to, so some of them are pretty much trade specific. But I'm going to share some of them with you now. I used to share these when I went networking, and you have to do a 60 seconds on most networking meetings where you get up and talk about your business. But when I stood up, I could see so many people switch off thinking, I don't need a travel agent, I'll book online. So I used to share these stories just to keep people interested in what I was saying. Because there's nothing as, not defeating, something as bad as being in a room full of people and you know that nobody's listening. At least with this show, I don't see that there's nobody listening, I just see the microphone. So that is a step up. But anyway, here are some of the travel stories. Do I need to carry on my carry-on bags, or can I check them? Well, the answer is, why not check yourself and let the bags have your seat? When am I going to receive my paper copy of the electronic ticket? Well, how will they know who I am if all I have is my photo ID? An American one again. How much is a train to Jamaica? Some more Americans. What language do they speak in England? And the water is murky. I did not come to Jamaica to swim in murky water. And the answer to this one is, as I recall, a Category 4 hurricane just pelted the island, and yet you insisted you had to go. The hotel would have been fine, but all the employees were speaking Spanish. And the American travel agent said, the next time you're in Mexico, we'll order in some French-speaking Mexicans, just for your convenience. Does the water go all the way around this island? And the answer is, not on Tuesdays. Is this a wide-body plane? The answer, yes. Good, because my mother has a big butt. Yeah. Why do I need to change clothes in Chicago? Planes, madam. You're changing planes in Chicago. Do these stairs go up? Yeah, have a think about that one for a while. It reminds me of the Facebook story going around that somebody said they were stuck on an escalator because it packed up. How do they get power to the cruise ship? Well, the answer is obvious. It's very, very, very long extension leads. Does it rain in the rainforest? Will the 24-hour cafe be open if I need to get a bite at 6 a.m? Where is the best spot to catch the fireworks in London on the 4th of July? Yeah, you do have to have a think about that one for a minute. My friend told me about a great hotel in Italy and it begins with a B. A travel agent here has written, I know exactly which one that is. Can I have your credit card, please? I'm a vegetarian. Do they have vegetables in Kenya? I am an advanced beginner rider. Yeah, maybe you should say beginning to be advanced or advanced for the beginning. Please send a quote for a week-long Costa Rica package with an adventure in the jungle. If I convert $1,000 to the local currency, how much is it in US dollars? If you've got any travel stories, funny stories like you've picked up, I mean, there's some from Thomas Cook about people complaining they were made to wait outside without air conditioning, or nobody told us there'd be fish in the sea, the children were startled. But if you've got any favourites, facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show, and please share. You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Around 18 months ago, a friend came up to me and asked me how my business was going, and then told me he just booked a £16,000 holiday to Tunisia with one of my competitors. So I just innocently asked him, doesn't the threat of terrorism in Tunisia worry you at all? And he knew nothing about it, despite the fact it had been in the news. He didn't know anything about it, and the travel agent never volunteered the information. And for nearly 2 weeks after I asked him about terrorism, there was an incident coming from Tunisia. It calmed down a bit recently until the cruise passenger incident, which I'm sure you're all aware of. But it comes to, how do you know if somewhere's safe to visit? Who do you ask? Well, the travel agent my friend used obviously didn't tell him about the current situation over there. They just took the money. And you can't just cancel a holiday if you don't feel is safe going, because you'll lose all your deposit or the whole amount. The travel company will only pull out people once the government has said it's too dangerous to go. And you may get your money back if you've got travel insurance, or the tour operator, if you booked a package, will give you your money back. Or they may offer you a holiday in a different destination. But if you've booked it all separately, like 60% of the people I asked at Luton Airport recently, then you do have a problem if it's suddenly too dangerous to go to a destination, because the airline will still go, the airline won't give you your money back. Or the airline will give you the money back because they're not going, but the hotel will still be there and the hotel won't give you your money back. So if you're not too sure about the destination, it really does make sense to have a package holiday so you are protected should the destination become on the no-fly list, as it were. You may think you're saving money by booking it all separately, but if something like this happens, then you could find out you're going to lose an awful lot of money. And last week, just before the incident with the cruise ship passengers, somebody on Facebook did post a question about taking their kids to Tunisia. So I posted a link to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office travel advisory for Tunisia, and it showed all the areas they advised that you don't go to, or only go to if necessary. It was quite scary. And then after my post, a lot of this person's friends started posting too, but it wasn't about the terrorism, it was about the fact it's uncomfortable because some of the men in the resort areas were ogling young ladies and and children when they were going around in skimpy bikinis, and they felt really uncomfortable, and they felt that the whole holiday was ruined because of the way people were staring at them. Which then gets you onto a different subject. Just because you're on holiday, should you act in a different way to the way that the locals act? And the locals don't go around in skimpy bikinis, so why should you feel that you should be able to do it? Or wearing budgie smugglers or whatever. If the locals don't do it, you are going to get stared at because it's something they're not accustomed to. They're probably used to it because of all the people who visit their area, but it's something they look forward to. It's like a parade to them. Let's put it that way. So, who do you ask for when you're looking for a travel destination? Well, you would have thought that a travel agent would be the best person to ask, but in the instance of my friend, that would say that no, perhaps it's not. So where do you start? Well, I recommend you always go to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office website. Some people may feel that using a guidebook is the best place to start, but there's no point researching somewhere using a guidebook if afterwards you've checked the Foreign Office guidelines and you realise that you don't want to go there because it's a little bit too dangerous. So the Foreign and Commonwealth website, which I've mentioned a few times already, is www.gov.uk/FCO. And on there, every recognised country in the world is listed, and it has the advice of whether or not you can travel there or not. You have to remember that the websites are there, they're written in civil service language, and they're also covering themselves. They don't want to say too much in case it causes problems, like it did with Kenya when they said don't go to Kenya, and the Kenyan government were very upset, and it created a problem for the soldiers on exercise over there. But they do have the responsibility for for British subjects, I guess. But anyway, if you look at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and travel advisory to where you're interested in going, then go on to the country you've recently visited and see what they say about that. And then you can have a look about your own experience based on the country, and you can see what the Commonwealth Office say about it. And then you can use that to make a judgment for the new country you've never been to before. You'd be surprised how easy it is to come across a country where there's terrorism. So you might think, oh, terrorism, don't want to go there. But I went to Spain, and they do advise about terrorism in Spain. So you do need to be careful about how you approach it. So do always use your own experience to understand how the civil service has written its report on it. But sometimes the government, UK government, might decide that there's no real risk to visitors, but other countries might. So if you're going to the Far East, it might be worth checking the advice given by the Australian government, because obviously the Far East is basically the Mediterranean for Australians. It's where they all go to. Well, not all, but a very lot of them go to. So there's far more Australians there than there are Brits. So who better to ask than the Australian government if somewhere's safe? And now the website for that is www.smarttraveller.gov.au. And of course, you can also check other English-speaking governments as well. So you've got Canada, which is www.voyage.gc.ca. Or you can use the American one, which is http://travel.states.gov. And of course, these websites can also give you basic travel information such as public holidays, local currency, and languages. So before you go to a new country, well, new to you, do check what governments are saying about how safe it is. I mean, the Foreign Commonwealth Office has maps to tell you where you should avoid, if there is anywhere you should avoid. But do that before you start looking anywhere else. So before you start looking at hotels and flights, check that you're going to feel safe. It's not just about safety, they do crime alerts as well. So there's another story about travel agents that ABTA had a travel conference over in Spain, in Barcelona. And at the time, a lot of people were having their suitcases nicked at Barcelona airport, and there was an advisory about that. But it didn't stop travel agents falling foul to the people stealing their suitcases. And you would have thought that as a travel agent, they would be checking the Foreign Commonwealth Office website regularly to see if there's any changes, and they would have known about the bag snatching. But they didn't. So if you don't listen to any other thing about in this show about me talking about bits and bobs, always check the government advisories before you go to any destination, and always double check with a recent visit of yours so you can understand how they're wording things.
Bye.